Hey Raid, I just wanted to give you the quick and dirty on Xavius. I'm going to go over the overall little mechanics. I'm not going to be going over the main mechanic of corruption until the end, because you just have to look out for certain things in the fight. So the first thing you're looking out for is Nightmare Blades. Nightmare Blades kind of works like Rock Chaos on Archimond. Two people go off to the side of their chevrons, and it's red instead of green. Pretty similar. Just make sure that you make good clearance and that you're pointing it in the right direction. This video of pointing it in the right direction, away from the group off to the side. We'll have an assigned spot for that. Okay, next mechanic. The ads. Ads spawn in Phase 1 periodically. These ads are, look like that. The fixated player. If they get to that player, they do a lot of damage and corruption, which you don't want. So you have to have someone come soak it. Now there are people with a sleeper debuff, and those people soak it. Specifically DPS with it, because the healers are using theirs for cleanses and stuff. So if you're a DPSer in Phase 1 and you have sleep, you soak these puddles. They actually buff your DPS. It's good, because you want to break out at some point during your 3 minutes. Anyway, alright, next thing. Artillery. The tanks get artillery. They go off to the side and explode. It's just like, it's called, what was it called? Black and Soul. It's just like artillery on Iron Reaver. So then Phase 2 starts at 65%. So there are a couple new mechanics, and a couple of mechanics go away. The next mechanic we're talking about is Meteor. If I can get this on my screen. Alright. Meteor looks like this. Circle, but it's clear circle, and everyone stacks in it. You share the damage. Sometimes people will do something with only the sleeper soaking it. We're probably not going to do it, but maybe for 1 or 2 soaks, and then we'll go back to everyone soaking it, something like that. We'll talk about that, but just so you're right, this is the soak circle. This is important to soak. So then there's the link. So the link looks something like this. That swirly means hug the other person. You take significant damage if you don't, until you don't. And the next mechanic is the ads in Phase 2, the soaky ads in Phase 2. So just like Phase 1 where there's ads that the DPS have to soak, in Phase 2 there are ads that the DPS have to soak, but in this instance, the ads slowly walk to the boss. If they get to the boss, they AoE pulse the raid like this. And then when the ads are killed, like that, they leave puddles, sparkly, sparkly puddles. Those puddles need to be soaked. If those puddles aren't soaked, the ads get respawned, and we have to kill them again. That sucks. Alright. So, those are all the mechanics in Phase 1 and Phase 2. That's everything. The big swirlies that you see around, as you get higher corruption, it does get a little bit chaotic. When you hit a 3rd corruption, you get big swirlies that you have to dodge, and then at 2/3 corruption, you get all these little swirlies on the ground, and they cause corruption and damage, and obviously hurt your DPS, so try to dodge those. But it's inevitable that you'll have high corruption towards the end of the fight. One neat trick was now we're getting to the neat trick part, so this is a great time to start skipping the rest of the video. If you're really low on mana and really high in corruption, when you hit 100% corruption, you get a buff, but at the end of that buff, you're gonna become mind controlled, so if you get right out of the group. I ran off to the side and suicided there when I had Meteor, because if I meteored the group, I would have given them corruption. We were already high in corruption. Oh, guess what? We wiped anyway. It didn't matter. But that's a handy thing that we can do towards the end of the wipe. End of a fight. What else? DPS. Pro DPS strat. You have 3 minutes when you get that buff, that sleeper buff. So at the start of the fight, you pop your cooldowns. Then 15 seconds later, half the raid gets sleep mode. If you got sleep now, it's 3 minutes into the fight, your cooldowns came back off, and then 15 seconds after that, sleep ends. When sleep ends, you get all of your cooldowns back, and you get all of your mana back. So you get to pop your cooldown at the beginning, then 3 minutes later you pop it again, then 15 seconds later you pop it again. And in 3 minutes and 20 seconds you've just gotten 3 sets of cooldowns. It's very high DPS. The fun part is that the people in Phase 2 who get the sleep can do the exact same thing it's actually pretty well timed out. We're probably going to push around the time where you can do that anyway. And for healers, it's really important because you get all your mana back. But there's a catch. To get the 20-second, there's also a 20-second DPS buff when you hit full corruption before you get mind controlled. But if you're a sleeper, you don't get mind controlled. You just come out of sleep. So you get the DPS buff plus all your cooldowns, plus you come back to life. So the whole trick is to soak the ads or cleanse in such a way that when there's 30 seconds left on your debuff, that's when you get 100 corruption, because then your cooldowns are coming back off at the same time as you're hitting 100 corruption, so you get to stack all that damage up, and then, you know, you're also soaking the mechanics and doing what you're supposed to do. So it's a really, really good way to do it. That's everything. So I'll see you guys in raid. We'll fill out the rest of the little details about the strat. That way, I also had some phase positions that were in this video, but you know, that might change before raid time. We'll talk about it. But those are all the mechanics. Have fun. Good night.